Welcome to week 16 of the Sunday Spread presented by BetMGM on the BetQL network. We have two people right now booking their trips to New Orleans, and we have one person getting ready to walk out the show. Okay? Just like somebody did on his team. Welcome once again to Sunday Spread.
That was funny.
Devin Caney. Thank you, Devin. Thank you. I worked on that. Devin Caney, Barrett Brooks, Sean Bell. How are we doing this week? I'm doing terrible, but
we're doing great.
Doing great.
Right,
Yeah.
right. We're doing
Yeah,
amazing
we're doing
right
great.
I could tell. I text these guys during the Eagles game. I said, well, are we going to New Orleans as a show, or is this going to be a
We
group
should.
trip? Or
Definitely.
what's up, BetQL? Can we just do it down there as your Philadelphia show?
We
Because
definitely should.
I'm here for it. I think that we should. I was looking up Airbnbs in New Orleans actually this week, but I didn't want to jinx it. I'm superstitious like that.
Yeah.
So,
So
I'd end up with an Airbnb to go watch like the Bills Lions or something, knowing my luck. So we'll wait on that one.
you're like, all right, let's pause. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm one of those individuals too. I won't buy a T-shirt
Yeah.
at the wrong time.
Yeah, no.
Nah, I'm not gonna buy that T-shirt right now because
sacrifice.
Debo might do something stupid.
Well, hey, you know
But hey, BetQL can get us.
There we go.
covered
There we
though.
go.
We don't
Come on,
have to put
Andrew.
anything.
let's go.
Get it
Get us
done.
on Radio Row.
Let's go.
We always start with where we were right and where we were wrong, and I apologize to Devin because Devin finally took a bet that I offered, that I
I
put
did.
out
I
there.
even texted him about it Sunday
Right before
morning.
the
just
show.
to reaffirm it. Just to reaffirm it too.
And I
I'm
knew
like, who was it?
I knew right away it was going to be trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, oh, come on. I said I had to apologize to Devin after the show. So I'll start where I was wrong.
Okay.
I thought this was a surefire bet. I said 100 yards and a touchdown by Jamar Chase, parlayed with 100 yards and a touchdown by Derrick Henry.
I thought I liked it. I thought it sounded like a good bet.
But here's the thing. I was mad at first, but then I'm like, my logic was sound. If I told you the Bengals scored 37 points and the Ravens scored 35,
Mm-hmm.
you would have guessed that Jamar and Derrick Henry had big games.
Absolutely.
Neither one of them did. So I still feel like my logic was right and the game went how I thought it should go. But clearly, I didn't make any money and I wasted Devin's money at the same freaking time. The other one that I was wrong on was Joe Mixon.
Yep. Yeah, I was wrong on that.
The
I was wrong on
Dolphins,
that.
they can't stop the run, and all of a sudden Joe Mixon can't get 40 yards.
Yeah.
He can't get anything going. Like, that's the one guy who was a sure bet for me all week long,
Yeah.
and that was not a good look for me. So those were the places that I was definitely wrong at, along with some of the games. The Chargers, Buccaneers. Buccaneers smacked the Chargers.
Bro,
Just-
in all
Well, and-
actuality, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get
Sorry.
into that a little later in the show in terms of like playoff pictures, but the Bucks kind of scare me. Like,
Yeah, I'm not trying to mess with them. And they got
Yeah.
our number during the
They
during the
do.
playoffs. They got our number
Oh
during
my
the playoffs.
gosh, they
Eagles.
do.
All right, the Eagles number during the playoff. You know,
Yeah.
when I say we some of the time or me, you know, they kind of, you know, they're like, oh, you. I did play for the Eagles.
Played for
Yes,
the
I
Steelers,
can
too.
say me.
Yeah.
I can't say we.
You literally can say it though. Like,
Right.
It's okay.
Can you say
Like,
we
you
for every
played
team you
them.
play for?
Yeah,
Or you only can pick one team that you say we for?
I can't because I got two teams. I mean, I collected many checks from many owners. Let's get this out there. But two teams that I do still claim ownership with, and that's the Eagles and the Steelers. The Eagles gave me my start. They drafted me. I became an NFL football player through the Eagles. Second round. So I say that's still me. And then I won a Super Bowl with the Steelers. So I could still say we and me with that also.
Question: who would you be happier for? I think I know the answer. I just want you to say it.
What do you mean?
To win a Super Bowl, the Eagles or Steelers?
It would have to be the Eagles. Yeah, because I mean, I won a Super Bowl with them. You know, I had number 5. I had the one for the
Does
thumb.
Tomlin know this?
No,
Okay.
I don't know Tomlin that well. My guy was BC. I was
know,
Coward
it was
guy.
Bill Coward.
I was
And,
Coward
and
guy.
the one thing I was right on a couple bets, right? I was right on a bunch of individual bets, but the Packers smacking the Seahawks,
Oh man, yeah.
I thought was the easiest one for me, and the numbers just bared correct. Jacobs having a touchdown, having a good game. I just knew the Seahawks were phony, and I knew the Packers were really good. Devin, right and wrong, where were you?
Well, I have to start by apologizing because it was not my week in terms of my touchdowns. Joe Mixon, as you mentioned, he was part of that parlay that I gave out.
Mine too.
Did not get in there. Jahmyr Gibbs did. So I was right on that. And Lamar Jackson did not. And I should have known better because I think it's similar to your bet with Derrick Henry, Sean. Like, they didn't really need to have their star guys go off or do anything crazy like Lamar running one in. So that's on me. I will take that one, and I apologize. Hopefully this week we have better luck.
He did run more in the game. He had over 50. That
He
was one of my
did,
bets, so
just
he
not
did.
into the end zone.
Yeah.
So he did listen to his mom,
Yeah.
just didn't score. So I was wrong on that. But yeah, it wasn't the best week for me, I have to say. I think I had like a few parlays hit here and there, but in terms of just overall sides, I did pretty well. I mean, Eagles over Steelers. Texans are a team that I'm still just like unsure about week after week. At the start of this year, I remember I had them going to potentially the AFC Championship game. Now I'm not so sure, but we'll talk about Texans Chiefs in a bit. But yeah, otherwise, like, not a great week for me. Not a great week.
Barrett, was it decent for you?
And I went with a couple of those bets that I.
And Bears. Sorry, the Bears.
Yeah.
I just need to stop doing that. I need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
We talked about, pre-show, me and him talked about maybe saying, all right, the Bears going to win one for the giver. They're going to win it for their interim head
That'll
coach.
be next segment for your upset pick.
But look at this, though. No, because I'm not doing that. I thought about it.
Okay.
No. But, I talk about, anytime touchdown, Mixon didn't do it for me. And I mean, he did it for me, but Najee Harris and Barkley just didn't do it for me. 100 yards. Neither one of them had 100 yards. Neither one of them got his ends. I'm like, come on. I mean, what am I doing? How do they both not do it? But I did win with Jerry Jeudy, 100 yards receiving. So I mean that worked out for me. But man, I tell you what, it was tough sledding for me. And then Justin Jefferson, 100 yards, didn't get it. So I had a pretty bad day as far as bets. A really bad day as far as bets. I am in the red. I was in the black. I am in the red now. Yeah.
It's again tough week for a lot of us. Hopefully, it's going to be a better week. I'm going to talk about my toughest week. The 49ers. It felt like the best way and most fitting way to cap a season.
Oh yeah.
Right, like based on all the issues they've had all year long, based off of everything that's been going on with players not being available, a player just not going into the game saying, "Nope, I'm good." First of all, who do you think you are? Jim?
Right.
That's the first question. Who do you think you are? Did you think you were coming in and you were going to be freaking Mike Singletary? Did you think they viewed you in that way? You came to the 49ers. You signed with the 49ers. 1 year, $5 million deal, right? Because not many people wanted you. You came in there being Dre Greenlaw's backup. Don't get it twisted. You knew this. This is not surprising news. They didn't pull something over your head. You knew you were coming to be Dre Greenlaw's backup. And you knew what Dre Greenlaw is. And you know what you are. Right? Like, everyone knows what Dre Greenlaw is. Everyone knows what you are. You are a backup linebacker who got to start this year. So you shouldn't have been surprised once Dre Greenlaw was healthy that Dre Greenlaw was going to get the freaking start. That was obvious. Guess what? Yes, you're a decent player, Devontae Campbell.
Not anymore.
Dre Greenlaw, you're a difference maker. They're two totally different things, and Dre Greenlaw was the best player in the entire field, offense, defense, to start that game. He was just violent and smacking people. So for him to, at that point, think, okay, I'm not going to go in a game. I'm not going to go in a game. Mind you, the 49ers still had chances to make the playoffs. The 49ers were up in that game and could have won that game. He doesn't go in the game, and then the Rams run all over the San Francisco 49ers, essentially losing the game because there was no Greenlaw, and there was no capable backup to Greenlaw to come in there to help them stop the run game. So he cost his entire team the game and respect. And what I don't understand is you cost yourself money, right? Like, not only this season, next season, who's going to sign you?
Yeah.
And if they choose to sign you, it's going to be for the vet minimum. You ain't going to get no real money. Maybe 20 teams would have potentially signed you as a linebacker going into next season. Now make it 4. Right? He severely cut off his nose despite his face because of his ego. So what are we doing here? But again, in Dre Greenlaw, it's been the case. Again, everyone knows I've been rooting for the 49ers. It's been this case for a long time where I felt like in the Super Bowl they could have won. Dre Greenlaw goes out. Pat Mahomes is seen on NFL films going, Greenlaw's out. They didn't attack his position for 10 catches, 100 yards. Like, it's a direct correlation. Dre Greenlaw being out and them being able to get yards and win the game. So, again, as a Niner fan, I can't believe it, but at the same time, it was a perfect ending.
But
and let me ask you, have you ever dealt with a player not wanting to go in the game, having to leave the sideline, and if something like that did happen, what would be your reaction?
First of all, I've never seen this situation ever happen. You would think as an NFL football player, you have a competitive edge in you that you would never, ever want anybody to see you quit anything. I wouldn't even quit marbles or flipping quarters, let alone during an NFL football game, a player quit on those 52 other men in that locker room and legitimately had a shot winning the game. Come on, man. I'm sorry, but he need his ass kicked. He needed beat. How could you do that to your Warriors? You went out there that fought, scratched, bled. I mean, your guys. You went through camp with them. And you just quit on them like that? Are you kidding me?
So you would have put foot to ass, basically. That would have been your result.
There's no question. I'm telling you right now. And I'm just going to put it as real as I can so you know how serious this is. I'm sorry, Devin. You quit on us, we'd have to fight. No.
Like, wait, me?
Devin?
Me?
This trio's got to stay together.
we
got.
If anybody's going to quit the show, it's going to be me after that. Okay?
Yeah.
It's going to be me. I'm going to get the freak up out of here. I'm quitting. But yeah, again, all his teammates had a lot of things to say about him.
No question.
None of which were good.
No.
Devin.
Have you ever seen anything like that before?
Well, you seen Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
You seen Vontae Davis do it. So you seen guys go crazy. But again, in a game, those are seem like head case individuals. He was just like,
Yeah, I mean,
nah.
Antonio Brown left the field, was like, wasn't he like dancing or like pumping up the track?
He took his shirt off and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Shirt off,
yeah. But
jumping jacks.
not in that sense. Like, just.
That's mental illness right there.
Oh, AB, yeah.
That's mental illness.
Sure.
This has nothing to do with mental illness.
Dev,
This is just his feelings was hurt.
As official 49er hater, which most of Philadelphia is, was this just fun for you? Did you just enjoy this?
Yeah. But I've been enjoying this whole season. Like, the 49ers and 49ers fans and media deserve everything that's happened.
Whoa.
The way that 49ers fans and 49ers players themselves, last year rolling into the Lincoln all black, like, ooh, we're tough guys. We're going to beat you.
And we beat y'all asses.
Yeah, now look at you.
Oh, see?
Now look at you.
I try to hold back.
Karma,
She just gotta hold it back.
Karma always comes back.
When
to
we
win.
down and hurt, this is how you want to treat us. When we were healthy, you didn't want to talk to us this way.
Bro,
I'd probably still talk to you this
Well,
way.
you would, yes, of course.
She's committed to stomping you out this entire year over this 49er team. She has not wasted one speck of ammo in making sure you understand that she still and will always hate the 49ers.
We don't forget. We don't forget.
I feel like
I try to be like, give you a little bit, but no,
I feel like I should get some sympathy, like not even a little bit, like
No.
not even a.
No.
You know what I'm saying? This is why I don't like her. This is just,
I think there's
this
a
is why my
video
work enemy-
of it's like 49ers players celebrating when the Eagles lost last year. or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Like,
they were going to the locker
we
room.
live rent free in your head. Like, why do you care so much? You guys were clearly better than the Eagles last season.
Because when you lost, they won the 1 seed.
Oh yeah, that's
Like
what it was.
you act like the Eagles would do the same thing. They would be looking at the team like the
not
Detroit
like
Lions.
that.
If
not
it was the last week,
celebratory
yes,
like
you
that.
would. If
Nick
it was
Sirianni would not let them do that.
That's not true. If it was the last game of the year and you needed Detroit,
They wouldn't film it and post it all over social media.
They would watch it. They would watch it and go, yes, they would. They would watch it and go, yay, Detroit lost.
No, they wouldn't.
See, it's funny how Eagles fans are so similar to 49er fans, but they don't get it. Like, y'all act like y'all better. Like, Eagles fans are jerks.
No.
Yes, you are.
No.
You cocky. You
We're
jerks.
honest.
You assholes. You all of those
We're
things.
honest.
See, that's always what an asshole says, by the way.
Did you just call me an asshole?
I call Eagles fans an asshole. Are you an Eagle fan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Would you call Barrett an asshole?
currently, yes, because he's laughing.
I love.
Yes. Barrett's also an asshole.
I would not just do you like that. I'm just saying I wouldn't do you like that. But I am so proud of her Eagle fandom. I mean, this is the way I want to raise my. If my children weren't already grown, I would raise them like that.
And Kenny, I'm sorry.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to
Kenny,
me.
I apologize. I don't know if you got to bleep that word out. I feel like I should be able to say that on digital airways, but sorry, Kenny, if that has to be bleeps, but it is what it is. But again, the 49ers going out in the saddest of ways, and everyone's celebrating around.
Now, people
So thank you.
will be talking about this for years and years and years. His kids are gonna have to bear the shame of him quitting on his team. You know what I'm saying? Like his kids lightweight will want to change their last name. It'll no longer be Campbell. They would change it.
Here's the thing: does he want to retire?
He should.
Right, because the other people were like, "I'm done with football."
Right.
Monte Davis was, "I'm done with football."
I mean,
Like,
halftime.
I dream to be able to quit mid-show. Right, like if I won the lottery, I'm not going to be respectful and not show up.
Right.
I'm going to quit mid-show.
Right.
I'm going to be in here like, guess what, mother? I don't like you. I'm going to be like Kelly Oubre against the referees. F you, F your mama, F your daddy, F your cousins.
Still like a very underrated
And I'm
moment in
out.
sports. I feel like that doesn't get enough credit.
Oh, no question about
Yes,
that.
another NBA player did that this year too.
Oh, really?
I forgot who
That's
it
so
was. It was
funny.
like F you, and F you to the
If you-
referees.
if you-
That's how
You're
I would wanna
cool.
quit.
What was that?
Yeah. You're cool. I have with you. F you. I'm out of here. That's how I would quit. But that's me not wanting a job anymore. That means I'm taking care of for life. So if
Right,
he wants a
right.
job, why would you quit in that manner, you freaking idiot? You freaking idiot. So it is what it is. Sorry, now that we got that over with. Now, at least we're not going to talk about
But
the
I'm
49ers.
going to
for
say
the
one
rest
more
of the
thing.
year.
I'm going to say one more thing. If 52 men, not one of them men, whooped his tail, I just goes to show you how that locker room is, man.
Oh, he was gone.
Oh, okay.
Like once they get out, he was kicked out.
Oh,
and
like
he had
he
to go
was-
home. So they haven't seen him since.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So-
I get it.
There's no way.
Yeah.
In any locker room, could he have still been
He had
in
to
the
leave.
locker room?
He had to leave the state of California
Yeah.
for me.
There's no way he could have
Yeah.
still been in the locker room.
Yeah.
All right, listen. Now that's over with. No more 49er talk. Ooh, I hope the Eagles lose. No more 49ers talk. Yeah. I need some get back. I can't have y'all win the Super Bowl and me go out like this. It'd be my worst season ever. I want to come back for next season. Next show. I couldn't. Next year. No way. Please, Eagles. Coming up next, we'll talk about the big news. Patrick Mahomes, Paul Pierce-like injury. Okay, you're hurt, but you're in full participation in practice.
Mhm.
You're not fooling me with your black magic. And Michael Penix Jr. That's the most curious case of the week for me. We're going to talk about those things along with some big-time upsets. What big-time upsets we have coming up on the Sunday Spread. Welcome back to the Sunday Spread presented by BetMGM on the BetQL Network. Once again, Barrett Brooks, Sean Bell, Devin Caney. Let's get to the surprising. Kirk Cousins benched.
Mhm.
Michael Penix Jr. Washington Star is now the starter. Dev, I'm not going to lie. That surprised the hell out of me. And
Why?
I know Kirk wasn't playing well, but that surprised me.
See, it didn't surprise me because he really wasn't playing well. And the Falcons, I mean, despite I don't want to say hot start because they didn't start, like their first game of the season wasn't good, but like they beat the Eagles at the start of the season. Now that might be less credit looking back to the Falcons and more credit to the Eagles just not playing their best football at the time. Because now I don't even think it'd be an even matchup whatsoever. But Kirk Cousins wasn't that bad, and he really, I don't know if maybe it's like an underlying injury or something, or maybe he's just washed. I don't know. But the Falcons really started skidding, and I think like you also kind of have to question the coach a bit here. But at this point, what do they have to lose, right? Like you have this young quarterback. We've seen young quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels, Drake May come in and actually make improvements to their team. So if I'm the Falcons, I'm saying, why not? Why not?
You're starting to look like you can still make the playoffs. They're a game back of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have two very winnable games in the Giants and Panthers.
Well, yeah,
The
their
other game
division is a
yeah.
disaster.
The other game is the Commanders. So 2 games that you should win. And you're benching him for a rookie. I could see if you were benching him for a veteran quarterback behind him. Like, all right, you want to get this veteran in, you can play better football for the last 3 games and maybe win the last 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
But a rookie in his first time ever having to play must-win games, it's just like
The way
feels like you're setting him up, your rookie up to be in a bad situation.
Well, yeah. But clearly they've seen enough from him where they have faith in him. I think it's to the point where they have seen enough from Cousins and it's unfortunate for Cousins, and for the amount he's paid, but they're seeing enough from him that, like you mentioned, they do still have a chance. It's a Hail Mary, right? They're like, hopefully this works out. If not, we tried, but maybe he'll give our team a boost. I think that is like exactly the mindset that the Falcons are going with here.
I just think it's a bunch of BS. They knew what they were doing. I mean, you when he signed this contract, he got $90 million guaranteed upon signing it. He got a
Cousins.
He got a $50 million signing bonus that got deposited right into his 7 days after he signed the contract. It got deposited. $50 million got signed right into his bank account 7 days. It had to be before 7 days were over with. And had a guarantee 12.5 this year base salary, and then 27.5 million next year. And they knew he wasn't going to be able to go out there and ball. He couldn't even. He barely passed the physical. He's been playing this way the entire season. They actually wasted an entire season on starting him and all that money starting him. It didn't make sense to me whatsoever. Penix is by far. Let him get his bumps and bruises.
Yeah.
Let him go out there and learn the game. He's not learning from that stuff he was from what Kirk Cousins putting on the field. He didn't learn anything from that.
But
Nothing.
Kirk Cousins had games this year where he was good, where he threw for 500 yards in game with 4 touchdowns. Like, to me, I could see all of this if you still didn't have a playoff chance. But for you to have a playoff chance, like I was never a player. But to me, to be like, you putting a rookie in now when we can make the playoffs, to me, this signifies you're giving up on the season.
I can see that.
For
that was
a rookie, again, if there was a veteran quarterback, I'd be like, cool. Like, Kurt is playing terrible. Put the backup veteran in, and we can win. But I'd rather have a Kirk Cousins who's playing poorly, where, okay, maybe he'll have a good game. You've seen it before. Like, maybe something could be drummed up, as opposed to this rookie who's going to come in and probably get demolished. Like, what do we? It's white flag stuff to me. No.
I do
like
see a
white
sense of that.
flag
Yeah.
stuff to me. Like,
I think
all
it
right.
could go either way. I think it could be white flag, but I also think it could be all right. Like, clearly Cousins
Maybe they saw
isn't playing
something.
well.
Yeah.
And also, what do we always say about young quarterbacks? Oh, they're playing really well, but he has yet to play in a game that matters. He's
Right.
yet to play in a game, under the bright lights of a playoff, potential, or even in a playoff game. They're just throwing Penix in the fire, and clearly they've seen enough from him where they have faith that he can perform. Maybe he fits the offense better. I don't know.
Kirk Cousins is the master of getting paid. He's the first quarterback. Remember his first contract when he left Washington was like $88 million fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
He was the first quarterback. I mean, he's the first guy to do that. You know what I'm saying? We're like, what are they doing? $88 million guaranteed? And he's been playing on so much house money, guaranteed money for all these years, man, that this is like a drop in the bucket for him. Maybe they trade him back to Minnesota.
All right. Well, maybe you guys view this as an upset. So let's get to the upsets. If you feel like this is a decent move so much, let's get to the upsets of the week. Again, every week there's been big upsets. Let's go to this week and what we think. Dev, I'll start with you. Week 16, dogs. What are you looking at? Who do you think can pull one off?
So I like the Texans over the Chiefs plus 155 on the money line. They are underdogs, 3.5-point underdogs. But I would take them straight up. I think the Texans win this game, and I know Mahomes is now likely to play whatever is going on with the Chiefs' magic behind the scenes. I know it's risky to bet against the Chiefs.
He's full participant.
They've only lost. I know.
Yeah.
But I think that the way these two teams match up on both sides of the ball, it's basically strength versus weakness for both teams. You have this Texans defense, especially their defensive front, against that Chiefs O-line. And then I know the Chiefs defense has been playing well, but neither of these offenses have been performing the way that we all expected them to. I think at the end of the day, the Texans have more options, and CJ Stroud can outperform a injured, likely still a little injured or banged up Mahomes, even if he does play. And for that reason, I think it's close, but I like the Texans in this spot. I do.
But it's tough because the Texans just haven't played up to their capability.
No, they
No,
haven't.
I'm saying they're both right. We're almost evaluating them on even fields here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that given the Texans, it really comes down to the Texans' defensive line, right? They Will Anderson, they can get pressure on Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense can take the ball away if Mahomes tries to air it out. So I think, and their run defense is good. So I think that given the matchups and both teams kind of having similar struggles, the Texans have the advantage there on their defensive front, and that's going to be the game changer.
Okay. All right. What do you got in this one, Barrett?
We talked about it, and even Kenny was like, what are you talking about? But I'm saying the Bears
Never again.
beat.
I like that for you, but like I feel like I've taken the Bears.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I've taken the Bears as my underdog pick the last 2 weeks, and
Yes.
every time.
Well, this time it's gonna work.
Is it?
Yeah, I think
They're
Coach
playing the
Brown.
Lions.
Coach Brown. They win one for the Gifford. They win one for the Gifford. I mean, honestly, I just really think that the mass amount of injuries that this Lions team has faced this time. I mean, I think Montgomery was the final straw.
Yeah, we ain't talk about Montgomery out for the season. And did you see his player prop for rushing?
No.
Montgomery?
His rushing, yes, before the season, I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kenny. His player prop was 755 and a half. No, 754 and a half before the season. That was his number. He ended with 754. No, 775 and a half. He ended with 775 yards.
Oh my God.
That was the over.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
it was 775 and a half. That was his prop. So if you had over, you thought this was a guarantee.
Yeah.
Right.
He ended with 775. How does
Wow.
Vegas do it?
That's crazy.
I don't know what.
How does Vegas do it?
Wow.
When I tell you, TVs would be thrown out the window. Imagine if you had that in a prop. Imagine if you had that in a parlay that could have won
Yeah.
you thousands of dollars.
Oh my God.
And all you needed was for David Montgomery to go over. And he gets season-ending injury. And last week it says he went for 4 yards. 5 rushes, 4 yards. Nah, dog.
That's
Something
crazy.
has to burn.
Right.
Something has to burn.
Somebody point shaving something.
Something has to burn. Somebody in Vegas did something. That's all I know. But again, the Lions ain't that hurt.
The Lions are that hurt. They probably have maybe 13, 14 guys on IR right now.
But hurt enough to lose to the Bears.
I'm going with that though. I'm going with that.
I know. I can't believe you're going with that.
And I know it, and I just really feel as though this is the week. This is the week. I think they become very, very vulnerable to a Bears team that's trying to at least dig themselves out of a hole. A couple of games left in the season, and just understanding, how the law of averages as far as people being hurt is finally going to catch up with them enough that they're not going to be able to. I'm looking at how many guys they have on injured reserve. It's ridiculous. They have almost 20 guys that are on injured reserve. How do you feel the football team with that? I don't care how much, Dan Campbell is saying about, all the, he's not worried about it or this isn't a fact. No, this is a factor. And when you look at the guys that he has that are on IR right now, I mean, these aren't just regular guys. These are starters. These are great players. I mean, McNeil, you know what I'm saying? Anzalone. All these guys are major players. Marcus Davenport.
You sound like you have sympathy for him.
No.
Okay, just checking.
No. Because I got to get that first. The Eagles got to get that first seed. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at it, man. They just have too many people for them that are out for them to be a factor in this game. I really think that this is the turning point in the season for this team.
Okay. Huh? Yeah. I think you're going on the island. I don't think me or Dev are willing.
I know. I'm
write
sitting
that
there
down.
by myself.
Write that down in your paper.
I got the other stuff too. Yeah,
we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to all the stuff you wrote in your paper. We're gonna make sure we do that for the rest of the season. We're gonna go back, but write that down as one of your predictions, so me and Dev can laugh at you next week.
Look, of all weeks to take the Bears, I don't know if this week is the one, but
49ers Dolphins. I just think they're gonna be angry. Right after
49ers.
a teammate did that, yeah, they're not going to make the playoffs, but I think the 49ers are going to be angry. I don't view them as a team that would just quit. And so I think they're going to be angry, and I think they're going to get into a Dolphins team that obviously has played better over the last few weeks, but I think the 49ers are the better team. And I think anytime Mike Daniels plays a team that's, again, the 49ers aren't good this year, but plays good football, the Dolphins fold. The Dolphins fold against tough teams. They fold against teams that bring some type of physicality.
Yeah,
that's just they're a softer team.
Yeah, they are
in the NFL. So anytime they have to face a team that's angry and brings roughness, I think they're gonna lose. Again, that's not a big one. The 49ers is plus 100, but I think that can be one of those games where the 49ers just dominate in this game because they're angry about what happened last week, and their team comes together because of it. Again, even though they basically have nothing to play for. Any other games that y'all are looking at and think are pretty good upsets? I'm looking at Seahawks.
Vikings.
Oh, there you go.
Seahawks Vikings. I know you're gonna try to get me. Let me say it this time. You always jump in front of me.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, Seahawks Vikings. I Vikings also a team that I think right now are front runners. I mean, yes, they have a good defense, but offensively, I just don't think it's starting to get towards the time where the men start differentiating themselves from the boys. For them to be in the same picture right now of the upper echelon teams, like they could honestly try to win the first seed. Come on now, they finally come back down to reality.
Can I ask a random question?
Sure.
To our woman in the room.
Oh, yes.
And this has nothing to do with what we were just talking about. When women are playing sports, do they do that analogy? Like, if you're playing a sport, it's real women out here. Like, you know what I mean? Do you know this is y'all are girls?
No.
Separate the women from the girls.
You're playing women. You know,
No.
you separate the women from the girls. Do y'all do that? Or do you do any version of that?
No, I don't think so. No, I've never heard that. Maybe like, yeah, no. No. But I also
I can row better than you.
I haven't played sport, like aside from flag football, which is I play with men and women. I haven't like played the competitive sport like that in years.
I know, but you
I don't
still
know.
played, and you still. And again, I'm trying to think of the women I've
think it's
covered in
more
sports.
like-
I'm trying to think of the trash talk because you don't have it. Do you have an equivalent of kahunas? Like we got kahunas. You know what that is?
Like yeah.
Balls.
Is
Is there an equivalent?
Yeah, probably.
That's why Dev is
All
my
right,
all-star.
sorry. I get
Dev is my all-star.
random
She-
questions, but when you said that, I just thought to myself, I wonder if women will be out
she-
here like,
I think with
you
women,
little girl.
it tends to be less like, oh, be a man, because that's like a very male mentality, and it's more like things to cut the other women down. So like words that I can't say right now, but like the B word, like
Mm-hmm.
hard C if you're like really going for it, you know?
I bet you are the worst.
That's a rough one.
Dev is the worst. Yes, I bet you are the worst. I bet you trash talk some of the best in the business, don't you?
So every year I compete in this charity flag football game. Were you there last year? Were you a coach? It's put on at the Novacare
I was.
Center.
Yes,
which
I
is
was there.
the Eagles practice facility, and it gets really intense.
No.
Like, people like my friend literally broke her ankle last year. And we just kept playing.
I
Bro,
gotta-
I had to
Sorry,
tell him
Bree.
to slow down.
One year I played, I had a busted lip.
Bro,
Yeah.
Because
like,
I full out Rodman dove
Yeah.
for a catch.
So I get really competitive, but everyone does, and it's men and women. But it's supposed to be flag, but I got full on tackled by this dude who works for he's on air for a TV station. Like, I didn't even care. I was like, what are you doing? You can't tackle me. Obviously curse words flying. So yeah, I get fired up sometimes in the moment.
No,
but I never say like, oh, you're a boy or
she-
you're playing like a man. Like, that's not.
Yeah, she was one of those ones. She was one of those ones. And we had this one woman. She was, I tell you what. She
Were
probably
you a coach?
Yes, I was. I was a coach. I wasn't playing.
what's
We got to wrap in 10 seconds.
Sorry,
but
sorry.
Go ahead, yeah.
Bro, this girl, she ran this cat over, like blocked him, like full extension. And this is supposed to be, flag football.
It's not flag football. It's not.
It was tough, man. I had to tell him to slow down, calm down a little bit.
All right. Yeah, just again, you'll get random facts and random stuff from us from time to time. When we come back, the queen has to redeem herself.
I do.
The touchdown queen. We're going to go over our touchdown parlays and some alts. We're going to bring alts into this segment, some alternatives to win some big money on the Sunday spread. Welcome back to the Sunday spread. Once again, Devin Caney, Barrett Brooks, Sean Bell kicking it with you, and it's TD Parlay time. It's the queen of anytime touchdowns. Again, didn't have a great week last week, like you said, but you usually dominate this sport, so we're going to go to you first. What do you got this week for us?
All right, so I'm looking to redeem myself this week, so please just hold your faith in me with these anytime touchdowns. Again, accidental theme. We're going back to the themes. I didn't have a theme last week. Going back to the themes, even if it wasn't intentional, with running backs. So I have 3 running backs I like to get in the end zone this week, starting with Bucky Irving. I know that he's been dealing with some like back pain, but he is still listed under anytime touchdown scores for the Bucks. They are expecting him to be good to go. So I like Bucky Irving. Cowboys' run defense is terrible. They're literally allowing the most rushing touchdowns in the league. They've allowed 22 so far this season. Not great. Bucky Irving to get in there. I also like James Conner for the Cardinals. They're playing the Panthers. Cardinals are not throwing the ball probably as much as they should be, but James Conner is a great player. I think he gets in there again. He did last week. And then Jahmyr Gibbs again. He's the one player who hit for me last week, especially with David Montgomery out. We no longer have our conundrum with the Lions, at least I don't think. Watch me jinx it by saying that. But Jahmyr Gibbs to get down there. Bears, sorry, Barrett, for your underdog pick. They allowed the most rushing touchdowns to running backs. So I like Jahmyr Gibbs to get in there at least once.
And Jahmyr Gibbs is minus 350 for any time touchdown. Like they said, everyone's gonna pick this now. Like so the odds aren't
Derrick
great.
Henry odds.
Yeah,
but
Derrick
if you
Henry
parlay it with the other two, it's probably decent.
Yeah, 100%. Barrett, what do you got this week?
Well, I'm going off, my Chicago Bears right now, going and beating this Lions team. DeAndre Swift, anytime touchdown. DJ Moore, anytime touchdown. I think this is where these guys finally step up, and that's why they're going to win this game. So anytime touchdown with them. Of course, I'm going to go with Barkley because they didn't feed him like they wanted to feed him this last game, and they shut him down. Me honest, Steelers shut him down a little bit. I think he goes out and anytime touchdown. In fact, I might even alter it up for 2.
I almost included him in mine, but then
Right.
I wasn't sure just because the Commander's defense isn't great against anything, but I don't know. I was nervous to include him in my official parlay. But I'll probably take
Because the
it.
division rival stuff seems
You
to
just yeah.
muck up some of these.
Yeah.
all the time. It muddies it up all the time. But Swift goes and makes it happen. I think he gonna give. I was thinking about putting Chase in there, anytime touchdown, because it's hard for you not to put him in anytime touchdown parlay. So he still may enter it. When I do make my bets, place my bets, I think he might make it in there also.
Okay. All right. I like it. I'm gonna go with Josh Jacobs against the Saints to get an anytime touchdown. Again, the Saints haven't been playing good football. Their defense has been decent, but they're backpedaling. I think the Green Bay Packers are just playing great football, and Jacobs has been just an absolute consistent thing for the Packers. For to score every week, to have plus 75 every week. They lean on that run game, and then it's play action, so I like that. Josh Allen against the Patriots, anytime touchdown. I think he already, we'll talk about it later, cemented being the MVP this year. Whether you like it or not, it's going to be Josh Allen. He's going to play the Patriots. He's going to add on to his touchdown totals. And, again, he's been getting a lot of rush totals at the same time.
And at the biggest margin right now,
he's been
too?
Cam Newton in it.
Right.
Yeah, with the touchdowns. Like y'all said, Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, putting them both in. Not the greatest of odds, but at the same time, if you parlay it, it's something that can look pretty good. And I like James Cook.
I like James
Carolina
Cook
against
too.
Carolina
I had
Panthers.
him. Yeah, I have him getting in there as well for the Bills.
And I'm debating Jamar Chase, throwing him in again. Again, he has 15 touchdowns on the season, so it's almost like he gets it every week. He didn't get it last week, so I feel like he'll get it this week.
Right.
But I'm not sure if I'm going to throw that touchdown parlay in there. So that's the one that's sort of a little bit questionable for me. Anything else y'all want to throw in there? Two touchdown person. You mentioned it. Is there anybody else you think can go for 2 touchdowns? I've been asking y'all that.
I mean,
Sort of
Jahmyr
every week.
Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs could get 2 since he's the only guy now. And I think the Lions will get up early, and they're playing the Bears, not good against the position. Not good against, they're just not playing well in general. So I could see Jahmyr Gibbs getting in there twice because there's no David Montgomery. Maybe Saquon? I don't know.
Yeah, I really thought about putting Henry in there, going against this this Steeler team. They kind of shut Saquon down, so I'm shying away from that. But I will say Mark Andrews. I would put him in for anytime touchdown. I think his ability to go out there and really stretch the field in the middle of the field is what's going to allow this Ravens team to really score. Because they've been kicking field goals, and we know at this point it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tight game. But I still might go with Mark Andrews for a touchdown. Anytime touchdown.
And I'm looking at Mike Evans, of course.
Hall of Famer.
Mike Evans, Hall of Famer Mike Evans. Also, I was bugging with my top 10 of all time. Let me just throw that out there. We talked about it before. I was bugging. I apologize right now.
Wait. So you don't think he's top 10?
He's not top 10.
Wow.
I
Wow. This is like groundbreaking, Sean. Are you okay?
Someone threw out a list, and I was just like,
Yeah, probably not.
What am I saying? Because
No, but I do agree with like he is. We don't talk about him a lot because he's just like quiet player. I feel like we don't talk about the Bucks enough right now because the Bucks offense is playing so well.
Yeah,
But
they can upset someone in the first round of the playoffs.
they certainly can. Yeah.
But
But top 10 of all time. Yeah.
no.
Maybe
Because
not.
they were like he was never top 5. How many times do you consider him top 5 wide receiver? Like he was one of those receivers you go, yeah, he's great, but he's not my 1, 2, 3 each season. He was never top 3 receiver in any season, technically.
Well, I mean, I think years 3, 4, and 5. I mean, he was that work.
He wins the consistency award.
Right.
I think of Tim Brown. I know I'm aging
there you
myself,
go.
but
There you go.
Tim Brown was never like top 3 wide receiver,
Right.
top 5 wide receiver. But he was a receiver every year that was like, all right, I'm a Pro Bowler at the end, and every year I have 1,000 yards. So he's similar to Tim Brown in that respect. All right, let's move on to alts. Let's bring in our man Kenny Henderson in the building. He always has some alternatives, big money bets, 300 yards, 125, 100 yards. Who can have a big game? So he's gonna come in and give us some names. What's going on, Kenny?
What's up, guys? Let's start with the rookie, Michael Penix Jr., 250-plus passing yards. We saw Penix air it out in college. He led the FBS in yards in his final 2 years as a starter. He's got all those weapons in Washington, and we've seen Kirk air it out when he was healthy. It seems like he's just deteriorated as the season has gone on, just due to maybe his age or an injury we maybe don't know about. Now Penix is in there going up against one of the worst defenses. What do we think about this one, Barrett?
I like it. I like it because he's not really one of those quarterbacks that's going to run around. He is a drop back quarterback who likes to air it out. He has plenty of weapons, Drake London, all those guys. This is one of those games where his coming out party is going to be like, all right, wow, he's going to bust it up. So I could see 250 or more, with him first game starting, him being hype. Those guys want him to be great. This could be a huge game for him. Huge game for him.
What you think, Dev?
I mean, it's risky, but I'm going to stick with what I said earlier in the show. I think they clearly see something in Michael Penix Jr. that is better or is going to improve the team for the end of the season, their playoff push, and I think that he could get to 250. I mean, Kirk Cousins was averaging a little over 250 per game. So sure, I'll take it. I'll take.
Yeah, no way.
No way against that defense.
It's definitely risky. Like I don't know if I'm not like gung ho about it.
A rookie in his first game in a must-win game.
But if it hits,
I know,
you
but
can be like, I knew all along.
a rookie first game, I can't. I'm not. He's still. This ain't college, kid. He's still got to have his welcome to the NFL moment.
They said the same thing with Washington. He came out and did the same thing.
No, that was Washington. That was college. You know what I mean? He was a high prospect in college, but
No, I'm talking about the Commanders' rookie quarterback. He came out busting.
he ain't Jane Daniels. No, he ain't Jane
Well,
Daniels.
we don't know if he's Jaden Daniels.
No, we know. There's a reason they were drafted at the spots they were drafted, and that doesn't mean scouts get it wrong all the time. And I do think Michael Penix is a good quarterback that has to develop. But Jaden was the number 1 quarterback all preseason, all training camp, got to grow in, and then he didn't come out the gate with 300-yard passing games.
No, he wasn't number 1. He was the number 3 quarterback.
Yeah, but I'm saying he was the number 1 quarterback for Washington. Like, he knew he was the starter. And
Oh, yeah.
And developed, and they prepared him.
Right. They groomed him from the very start.
Yeah, I just don't.
From the very start.
The one thing that the Giants have is a good line.
Well, they didn't have anything. They didn't have anything else to fall back on. They really didn't bring anybody. They brought in our backup from last year. What's his name? He was the backup
The
here last
Eagles
year.
backup?
Yeah, he was backup last year.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm having a brain fart.
Right.
I don't remember.
You know what? It doesn't matter. He's from Oregon.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
But
He was in the quarterback show. No,
Yeah.
Quarterback?
Yeah.
Mariota.
Marcus Mariota.
Ah, there you go.
Marcus.
There we go.
Marcus, brother Marcus.
What do you think, Kenny?
I think you better hope that Michael Penix doesn't have his coming out show here in his first game because you're hating on my guy here. He aired it out in college, and I think that against a bad Giants team, he's got an opportunity to, with these weapons. I mean, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. I know Kyle Pitts has really been struggling with Kirk, but this is the young guy, Michael Penix, and he gets to work with these young weapons. And yes, it was college, but he was also playing with a lot of players in the NFL, and now he's playing with an even better offense in the NFL. Bijan Robinson there to help him as well. I think this could be a big game for Michael Penix. So we'll see. We'll see.
Just to let y'all know, Jaden Daniels in his first game had 184 yards.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh.
And we're asking for 250 plus.
Yeah, but Jaden likes to do a lot of work on the ground.
Okay. I mean, name any other quarterback you want me to look up real quick in their first game.
No, yeah. Yes, historically, you're correct. Guys don't usually pop off in their first game, but I don't know. Maybe this is the matchup for Penix with all those weapons.
You got to put it in situational. You got to put a situation. We're talking about the end of the year. He's had a lot of time to sit back and watch.
Okay.
What's going on in front of him, getting the speed of the game, understanding, where guys are supposed to be at within the framework of the offense.
I'm okay with being on the island here. That's all right. What you got next, Kenny?
Well, I'll give you one that I hope that you'll like. George Kittle, the best tight end in football. I'm sorry.
There you go.
He still is, but Brock Bowers is coming for that.
Brock Bowers is Zach Ertz.
Oh, come on.
He is. He doesn't get he averages 10 yards per catch.
Not a yak king.
He gets no yak. So he'll get a lot of catches and he's got good hands, but he's not going to give you any yak. And I need a tight end that's going to give me yak to be the best tight end in football.
Well, if the Raiders draft Shador, I think that he'll be even better. He just needs a better quarterback and a better offensive scheme. He's obviously a good player if he's top 5 in receptions as a tight end in his rookie season. So, I mean, we'll see how his career pans out. But let's stick on Kittle, 75 plus yards, plus 155. He has been the guy the last few weeks. He can't trust Deebo Samuel, of course. The Dolphins have good corners that can match up against the other receivers. Sean, what do we think about Kittle for 75 plus?
It's tough. I'll take it. Problem is George Kittle, he's Mr. Yak. He doesn't get a lot of targets because he blocks half the time, right? So it's just one of those things, but he is the most reliable target for the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to take it. I don't love it because, again, you never know if he's going to get the targets like Brock Bowers and some of these guys. You know he's going to get 10, 12 targets. This guy blocks so much. But when Kittle goes off, he goes the freak off. So I'm going to say yes in this game. Again, it's going to be a game where everyone's angry, and he's their best weapon right now.
And you go, like you said, you're going against a very soft Dolphins defense. I mean, this is one of those things where Kittle will be the best player. He'll be the best player in the hash bars. You know what I'm saying? They really don't have anybody to guard him in there. So I 75 plus. I would go with that because he's been Purdy's best target the entire season. When he's available, he's his target. So I think that's a good look for him.
What you think?
I guess I'll take it. He is he's kind of hit or miss. If you look back at it, his last just 4 games, it's 61, 151, 7, 82, 57. So I think 75 is somewhat reasonable. I just feel like I'm jaded because whenever I bet on George Kittle or I include him in a parlay, he has 0 yards because he's just blocking or something. I swear I jinx him every time. But I do think that he's the most reliable option at this point for Brock Purdy to get the ball to. So I don't see a good reason enough to not alt this.
All right. And by the way, that's no insult. I love Zach Ertz, and he was a top 3 tight end in the game at one point when he was getting all those catches. It's just that is my player comparison, and I think George Kittle is better in that player comparison. All right, coming up, playoff picture. We here, y'all. We here. Playoff picture. Who's going to get the 1 seed? Tennessee, 3 different teams could get the 1 seed. And I can't believe the Minnesota Vikings are still up there to get it.
Yeah.
Right? Fraud alert, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll touch on the playoffs coming up next. Welcome back to the Sunday Spread. Devin Caney, Barrett Brooks, Sean Bell, presented by BetMGM on the BetQL network. Playoff time right around the corner. We're looking at the playoff picture. Who's going to be where? Who's going to get the number 1 seeds? and where that all sets up from there. So let's go over it a little bit. Let's look at the NFC first. Right? As of now, the Lions have the 1 seed, the Eagles 2 seed, the Bucks 3 seed, Rams 4 seed, Vikings 5 seed, Packers 6 seed, Commanders 7th seed. So let's
Are you
take
sure?
I know.
You're reading that with quite some
Right, the Vikings the
uncertainty.
fifth. It's lined up as a 5th seed right now, Kenny.
Yeah, that's and that kind of works in, with the number 1 seed on how, the Eagles, Lions, how this all
That's right.
sets up.
That's right. The NFC North is absolutely crazy. Only the Bears think in the NFC North. Sorry, Kenny. With that said, who do you think gets the 1 seed in the NFC?
I think all roads go through Philadelphia. Like I said, with the rash of injuries that the Lions have, it's going to be tough for them to keep that 1 seed and still be able to compete at the level they're competing at with all these injuries that they have. To me, it's just going to be hard. And then you got to think about the Vikings still have to play the Lions, so one of those teams is going to lose anyways. So I think the biggest thing is the Vikings have to be still involved with, that number 1 pick. That number 1 seed in order for it to be competitive, and the Eagles have a shot to be the number 1 seed. Because if they lose at any point, it automatically almost drops them to that 5th seed automatically. And then when they do play
Wait,
the
if
Lions,
the Eagles lose or if the Vikings lose?
The Vikings lose.
Oh, yeah.
Then it just drops them down to that 5th slot, and then they're not going to be trying or interested in beating the Lions because they'll already be the 5th slot, 5th seed, because that means that the Lions will already be the winner of the division. So they can still win the division, getting that number 1 seed and everything. So as long as they're still vested, there's still an opportunity for the Eagles, I think, to be that number 1 seed.
Okay.
Yeah, you look at the rest of their schedules. Vikings have the hardest by far. They have Seahawks, Packers, and then the Lions. Eagles have Commanders, which I think will be the toughest, and then Giants and Cowboys.
Yep.
With Lions, it's the injuries. I think if we looked at the Lions' remaining schedule, earlier or even just a few weeks ago, it'd be like, oh, it's pretty easy. But they have the Bears, who, Barrett thinks it's going to be a tough game.
Yep.
We'll see how that plays out. And then I think that Lions-Vikings game at the end of the season could either make or break. I don't know. The Eagles would have to win out, and I would just prefer if they could take a game off to prepare for the playoffs.
Right.
But that might not be the case. I'm just not. For me, it's less about the home field advantage and more about who the Eagles have to face. I just don't want the Eagles to have to face the Buccaneers because they scare me in the postseason whatsoever. So whatever helps them avoid that, I'm cool with. And I also don't love facing the Commanders for the 3rd time. No one wants to face the same team 3 times.
Right.
It's not fun.
Yeah,
and the Rams too. The Rams still, I still feel as though they're one of those teams that you got to watch out against. They have just enough offense and barely enough defense to be competitive in this playoffs.
Yeah, I guess I would pick the Eagles too, because each other team, the Lions play the Bears, the Niners, and the Vikings. The Bears and the Niners should be in the bag, but the Vikings is going to be the tough one.
Mm-hmm.
You said the Vikings. The Vikings play 3 playoff teams.
Yeah.
To go down the stretch. The Eagles don't play anyone close to their level, as opposed to those other teams play teams that are high up there. So the Eagles should sweep, while both of those teams take at least 1 loss, in my opinion. So I'm with you. I think the Eagles get the 1 seed. I still think the Lions win the division, whether they lose that Viking game or not, because I think the Vikings are going to lose 2 games down the stretch, have a 2 out of 3 game losing streak because of the schedule they had to play, and so the Vikings will plummet to the 5th seed while the Detroit Lions take the 2 seed. So I'm with you guys. You said the scariest team. So which team? Forget about who the Eagles are going to play.
Mm-hmm.
Which team is the scariest outside of the 3 teams we just named
in the NFC?
In the NFC.
Outside of the 3, regardless.
I think it's the Packers. You didn't name the Packers, but
I don't think it's the Packers. I think it's the Bucks. I think it's the Bucks offense. Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans. They have 2 running backs who can get it done. They seem like they're rolling right now, and that makes me nervous. I think that they're not just for the Eagles, for any team. I think the Bucks are playing really well.
See, I think that's Eagles scare. Because I think the Packers.
Well, yeah, and the Bucks have had the Eagles number, especially in the postseason the last few seasons. So yeah, you're right.
I think the Packers have played just. I think the Packers can make a legit Super Bowl run, like be the surprise team. Like,
Do you think the Packers are better than the Vikings?
yes.
I
I think they lost to the Vikings earlier this year, 31-29. That was in week 4.
Mhm.
I think the Packers are a far better team. I think the Packers are the only team that I think have been doing this upwards, as opposed to I think the Eagles, I think the Vikings and the Lions reached a high level and higher than the Packers, but have had to plateau and stay that level. It's let's stay at this level. Let's stay at this level. Where the Packers, I'm like, I don't think we've seen their best. I think we've seen everybody else's best. And the Eagles' best can win the Super Bowl, obviously. I think it's scary because we haven't seen the Packers' best.
I think the Rams are that team for me because we know how good their offense can be with the weapons they have. Matthew Stafford is still one of those edgy quarterbacks that can go out there and pick you apart. You know, they still got, 2 of the best receiving tandems in the league right now, and they got a running game that they can play, with Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is just good enough to make you think about them, especially their pass rush with those 2 young guys they have there, that are balling out, and I just think they're a scary team because right now you talk about plateauing. They haven't even got close to a plateau. They're still going up. They're still going up. And at this point, even though they lost to a Tampa Bay team, they lost to Tampa Bay, right? They lost to
Who?
Tampa Bay,
Who?
the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I still think that you haven't seen their best football yet either. Their quarterback is just that good that he could, start playing and get hot and get them in a position where they can be really, really good, really, really dangerous in the playoffs.
Wait. The Rams didn't play Tampa Bay.
Oh, didn't play Tampa?
No.
Okay.
What are you talking about? Last week?
No.
What week?
I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Whatever. I know they played a lot of teams very, very tough. They played this Eagles team pretty tough also.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like them.
Okay, let's before we get to the rest of the NFC picture, let's hop over to the AFC. Chiefs 1, Bills 2, Steelers 3, Texans 4, Ravens 5, Broncos 6, 7 is the Chargers. Any surprises there? Do you think there's going to be any shake up, or do you think that's essentially going to be the order?
A team that are really, really playing, and you don't want to play them because their defense is playing so well, is the Broncos. The Broncos kind of scare me a little bit. Offensively, I just think they're okay, but their defense is just good enough. They've been scoring on defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would say right now, the Broncos are really the team that, that I'm taking notice of.
So it's funny because the Broncos, I was just talking to my mom the other night. She's in my fantasy league, and I think she has someone, she was like asking me which, she's actually doing really well. Proud of her. Shout out my mom. And she was like asking me which defense she should take. And she asked me about the Chargers versus Broncos. And she's like, are the Broncos good though? Like, I feel like they're doing pretty well. And I'm like, I describe them as like an upper middle class team where like they're not. But like, and I don't mean that in a rude way. I'm just saying like they're not at that elite level for me just
They can't
yet.
be bougie.
Yeah, like they're not bougie yet.
Right,
Like bougie right now would be like Bills in the AFC, Bills, Steelers,
Chiefs.
Ravens, Chiefs.
Yep.
Even though I say Chiefs last because I still like refuse to believe it because they're just so fraudulent. But yeah, like they're sneaky good, I guess.
yeah.
Where like they're like a upper
sneaky good.
talent, but they're not elite yet. So I can't believe that the Broncos can make a legit Super Bowl run, but I could see them winning like the wild card round in the
Right.
playoffs. Depending on who they play.
Who wins the AFC North? Steelers, Ravens, 1 game apart. They play this week. That may
Be a
be
good game.
basically be the decider. But again,
But see, that's
it
smart.
might be a tie. With
So
2 games
yeah,
left.
if the Ravens win, do they take the division?
Yes. Whoever wins this game takes the
Takes the division.
So when you look at this also,
I'm not sure about that.
because if
Because
the Steelers
beat
win,
Ravens.
If
the
the Steelers win,
they lock it
cement
up.
Oh yeah.
But
the
yeah,
Steelers
but
win,
if the Ravens win,
Ravens
did they
win,
lock it up or is
I don't
it
think
still...
they lock it up.
You know what,
It'd be
Okay.
one.
They'll
one
be
and a
tied.
tie.
They'll be tied. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also, when I look at it, you look at all those in that division, man. It's back to the black and blue division again. It's back to those guys being, But when I think about the Ravens, am I thinking about them like what they've done the last 3 years going into the playoffs, or do I think about what they're doing right now? That's the difference, because they suck going into play. They haven't made the playoffs, and they're good all through the season until the end of the season, and then they go downhill. Is that the Ravens team that we're looking at right now, or are they different from what we've seen? That's what I want to know, because this is really the first time that we have had, Jackson going into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Usually he's not going into the playoffs. He's usually the backup going into, last 3 or 4 games into the end of the season.
See,
So Jackson being there, it's a different team, but I mean they're just so dangerous still. That
Yeah.
Ravens
I
team
have
is
the
dangerous.
Ravens winning the division.
Also to win, so our producer just wrote in the chat. So if Ravens win out and Steelers go 1-2, the Ravens win the division. So it's not just like this game obviously is big for it, but it also depends on what happens the rest of the season.
But the Ravens, you look at their schedule. If they beat the Steelers, then they got the Texans, and then they got the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers, all right, you got the Ravens, and then you got the Chiefs right afterwards.
On
Yeah.
Christmas Day, right?
Yeah, that could be a 2-game losing streak.
Browns
right
have
there.
beat both of them, which is
Yeah.
like so
a,
random.
a ridiculous. Yeah, it's been a ridiculous season.
Yeah,
So with
yeah.
that said, let's look at the NFC Championship game. Is it locked? Is it Lions? Is it Lions Eagles, or do you have anybody penetrated there?
I'm thinking it might be Eagles Buccaneers.
You think?
Yeah.
I could see that. I could see that. I don't know. I'm superstitious. I don't know. Like I hate that I hear like on sports talk radio and everything in Philly. It's like, oh, we'd rather play this team or Lions or Vikings. Like my brain can't even think that far. But if it is Eagles Bucks, that scares me. I don't want to face the Bucks at all. If I'm the Eagles, just because I feel like it's something about the Bucks like has Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense number especially.
You can't read the defense. Look, you can't read the defense.
Yep.
I still hear that.
Yep.
I still see it and I still hear it.
I don't know. I could see it being.
Come on, you gotta throw something
Do
out
I
there.
have to?
Yes, you do. This is what our show's about.
Eagles Packers.
Mm.
You thief. That's what I was gonna say.
Really?
Yes.
That's funny.
I've been talking about how I think the Packers can make a Super Bowl run. I have the Eagles Packers. You just said you didn't think the Packers were real. You thought they were a little bit fraudulent.
That doesn't
Not-
mean that they
But
won't.
you think they're going to make the NFC Championship game? You say you weren't worried about them.
Well, not. Like the
Okay.
Eagles will beat them in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, but you picked the Buccaneers and some other teams and Commanders.
I
as
don't like
teams
the.
to fear more than the Packers.
It depends how it shakes out, right? I like the Packers. I think can beat the Like right now, I believe it's the Packers would play the Bucks. I think the Packers would win, and then they'd advance.
Okay.
If the Packers played the Commanders, I think the Packers would win and advance.
Okay.
It depends how it depends.
Okay. I Eagles Packers.
I think it might be the same. Eagles Packers.
Yeah,
I
I,
mean,
thought
I
you
said
just
the-
said Eagles Bucks.
I was saying the Eagles Bucks, but I thought about it. I got to be realistic. They don't have enough as far as their weapons just yet to be back. They're just well and good enough to be dangerous, and that was just me thinking from how the Packers has ruined our season the past 2-3 years. 2 years. They've ruined our season the past 2 years. So I'm saying this. I mean, that's who I don't want to play. But if you talk about that curve, you're talking about going up. I think that the Packers right now are playing well. They are playing well.
All right. Just saying.
They are playing well.
Can I
There's
just
some
do really quick?
inconsistencies here.
As in order of teams, like if so, I'll just use the Eagles as an example. But say it's like any team in the NFC. The teams that I would least want to face in the postseason or NFC Championship game in order would be the Lions, the Bucks, and then the Packers, probably third.
And I would go the Eagles. If I was the Eagles, then I would say Buccaneers, then Lions, then Packers.
Okay.
The Buccaneer fear is real.
Yeah, it
The
is.
Buccaneers
man.
ain't that good.
They're not.
They're not as
but
good
you
as
also
y'all are
have to
saying.
look
They're a
at-
good football team, but they ain't this good.
Every time the Eagles play them in the regular or postseason, the Bucks like crush them. Like it's not even close. Like it's crazy. It's weird. They have the Eagles number, and I know last season the Eagles completely
Todd Bowles.
collapsed, but it's like it's crazy.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't know what it is.
Let's jump over to the AFC real quick. AFC, what is the AFC Championship game? What two teams you think make it?
So I think at the start, of the season, we gave our futures, and I had, I think I had Texans and Chiefs, but now I'm going Chiefs Bills.
Chiefs, Bills.
I'm going Bills, Steelers.
Ooh,
I'm going Bills, Steelers.
I would love that. That would be a good game.
It'd be a great game.
Yeah.
You know, two defenses. I mean, defense against a really good offense. You know, and vice versa the other way. I like that.
I'm going Chiefs, Bills.
Hmm.
I'm going chalk. Right, like I think the Steelers have a chance. Right, I think they have a really good chance, depending if George Pickens is healthy throughout this playoff run.
Is he back
Goes
this week?
Goes healthy. I think he was limited participation, so I don't know if he's going to be fully back.
I know T.J. Watt is back.
T.J. Watt. I've never seen Lane Johnson look silly.
Right.
He made Lane Johnson look silly. The first time I feel like I've covered this team since 2015.
Mm-hmm.
That is the first time I've ever seen Lane Johnson not look good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's two plays.
That's no disrespect to Lane. That just speaks on T.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, Lane
even
is
when he
one of the best.
Even when he didn't get sacks, it was just like,
Yeah.
where's TJ? Because we can't just count on Lane automatically handling it.
Yeah.
TJ Watt was balling.
Yeah, he was.
That boy's different. All right, well, we going to take a break. When we come back, we gave NFC and AFC. We're going to give Super Bowl. Just a quick who we think is going to make it to the Super Bowl, who we think is going to win. And then we're going to discuss the biggest games of the week. This is the Sunday Spread. Welcome back to the Sunday Spread presented by BetMGM on the BetQL network. Again, playoffs right around the corner, so we're giving some playoff predictions. Again, once we actually find out the brackets right before the playoffs, we will give you actual predictions, but we're just taking a look at the futures right now. So right now, Devin, she has Eagles, Packers, Bills, Chiefs.
Yeah.
I also have Eagles, Packers, Bills, Chiefs. Barrett changing a little bit. He has Eagles, Packers, but has Bills versus the Steelers. Barrett, we'll start with you. What are your two teams in the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl winner?
I think it's going to be Eagles, Bills. Super Bowl clash. Two quarterbacks that, you know, can move around a little bit. I think the Eagles have a better defense, but you know, this is what, you know, you're going to pay big dollars for this, man. This is a great matchup. Eagles versus the Bills.
Okay. And I assume you have the Eagles winning it all.
Of course. Of course. Yeah, of
Okay.
course.
All right. Pretty easy. Devin?
I have Eagles Bills as well, and I have the Eagles winning.
Okay. I have Bills, Packers.
Okay.
Bills, Packers.
He's just a hater.
From out of nowhere.
There's something about this.
From out of nowhere.
There's something about the Packers that make me feel like Aaron Rodgers' first Super Bowl. Right? And again, that Super Bowl, I believe they went 10-6, made a wild card, and made a run. And it was just like, yeah, we know they're really good, but we didn't know it was going to be this. And then his legend started to grow. Right?
Uh-huh.
And it was similar to, again, Brett Favre. It was a little bit later. I believe it was in his fourth season, and he was great that year. But something about the Packers starting quarterback in their first 5 years who's able to just get one and then never get one again. But there's something about the Packers I don't like. Again, you talk about the Buccaneers and kryptonite for the Eagles. I don't like the Eagles having to face the Packers twice. And two competitive teams. And again, both of those teams are a lot better than they were in week one. And it was in Brazil, just awkward circumstances and all that. But I just think the Packers are going up, and I think they're going to be able to do something. And I just have a belief that Matt LaFleur will be able to outcoach Nick Sirianni in a big spot.
But to me, it has nothing to do with coaching. It has everything to do with man for man. The Eagles have the best roster in the NFL.
Yeah, but you say that, but then last year, Detroit Lions should have beat the San Francisco 49ers, but Dan Campbell went to go for it. Right? Like, it's those little decisions. I think if it was man-to-man, it was just, if you guys were so much better, and I do think you have better talent, I would be with you. But I think talent on the field stuff is closer than you think. And I think the Packers have know-how to be able to get it done with what their quarterback does and what Matt LaFleur does. I mean, you see it. One of your teams is the Rams. The Rams ain't got talent as close to talent to any of these playoff teams. but they got Sean McVay, and that those coaches are out coaching people, and that's why they're so big of a threat. I think Matt LaFleur is in the Sean McVay vein.
Well, yeah, he's in that vein, but you got to talk. At this point, I think Nick Sirianni is optimizing everything out of that team now. Now that you see, now they say, all right, it's out there. Everybody saw it last week that they can go out with a passing game. They can go out there and beat you in any way they choose fit to beat you. They can really go out there and alter how you play against them just by how they want to call the game. They can run the ball when they want to run. They can pass the ball when they want to pass the ball. Those are things that people doubted them, but there's no doubt in their mind now. They got two of the best receivers in the league. They got the best offensive line in the league. They can pass it. They can run it. They can do whatever they want to do with the best running back in the league. So I just think that, now the mentality of teams facing this Eagles team is totally different on how they thought about them even 2 weeks ago.
We'll get into this more later, but again, the one passing game, great passing game, doesn't tell me they have a great passing game, and they can do it when they want.
Can I
There's
just
plenty
say,
of times this year
though,
they haven't had a great passing game. And oh, by the way, this isn't Eagle hate. Just because you have another team and say another team is really good and has the potential, because I said earlier this year, I don't believe any team is elite in this league. I don't think any team where you go, they got 7 Pro Bowlers on defense, they got 7 Pro Bowlers on offense, like 1990s Dallas Cowboy style. Like, I don't think any team is like that is that
This is
good.
the closest team for it. That's the closest team you could say with that elite talent.
I don't think the Eagles are close to those elite talents. But again, that's an argument to have another day.
I want to say something because I've heard this comment not just from you, but from tons of people, whether it's national media, fans of other teams, whatever, making predictions, online forums. It's Nick Sirianni will, lose the Eagles the Super Bowl in the end, or Matt LaFleur will outcoach Sirianni, or so and so will outcoach Sirianni. Can we just look at what Nick Sirianni has won 10 straight games? He's literally 46-19 in his career with the Eagles. The Eagles have the second best road record in the NFL since Nick Sirianni became head coach, only behind Andy Reid and the Chiefs.
Here's
I don't get why we're constantly saying, well, Nick Sirianni is going to hold them back. He literally is in the top 10 for winning record of all. It's not just Eagles franchise records, like of all NFL head coaches. And we're still like, well, Matt LaFleur will outcoach Nick Sirianni. Like, what are we doing here? He has 4 straight seasons of 11 or more wins.
Yeah, I do. Here's what we got to stop doing. Just because I feel like someone's going to get outcoached doesn't mean I think the coach being outcoached is not a good coach.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you think he's a bad coach. And it's not just you. This is a frustration with just a narrative that seems to be perpetuating around the entire league and national media around the NFL. And it's this coach is going to outcoach Nick Sirianni. Sean McVay is going to outcoach Nick Sirianni. So at the end of the day, you're not saying he's a bad coach, but you're saying you think that all of these other coaches are superior to Nick Sirianni, when Nick Sirianni actually has a higher winning percentage than the majority of them.
Okay, let me be more specific. The Eagles were in a Super Bowl. Nick Sirianni got outcoached in that Super Bowl. That doesn't mean he was poor in those coaches. It was Steve Spagnuolo and Andy Reid had particular plays and particular moments that they can get away, that they knew how to call to get wins. Those are the little things I'm talking about. Not that Nick Sirianni isn't a really good coach. Not that he can't outcoach other people. It's just I believe in certain individual coaches. Matt LaFleur is one of them. Sean McVay is another one. Andy Reid is obviously one of them that can go in these big moments, in these big spots. He'll have one player or two that the other coach wasn't expecting. And that's what I mean by outcoaching. I don't believe that Nick Sirianni is going to throw out a dud and be outcoached the over game. I just believe in those individuals. If the game is tight, is going to be able to say, I saw this all year. I drew up a play for this particular moment to win this game. And I believe those coaches have that capability, as opposed to I don't think Nick Sirianni has that capability to pull it off against another coach.
I'll say this. Yeah. I'll say this. Nick Sirianni is finally allowing his position coaches to be coaches. So it wouldn't be necessarily Nick doing it, but it'd be more calling an offense or Fangio calling the defense. And they've shown this year that they're more than capable of out-coaching any coordinator or offensive coordinator or anything, because they've shown that ability to do that. It's more. I believe more has more more in his repertoire of plays in which he can go out there and really out coach even the Sean McVays, because he just did it. He just did it.
Listen, I got you. I think Moore is one off of his great talent. I think somebody else defense, if he faces the Chiefs and the Steve Spagnuolo, it's going to be a different story, because I think he can outcoach Kellen Moore and give them some problems. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the biggest games. This wasn't even supposed to be an Eagles chat. You see what happens when I pick someone not the Eagles? Y'all gonna yell at me.
Yes,
for
sure.
Jeez Louise. All right, let's get to some of the biggest games real quick of the week, things that are going to be sort of difference makers of the weeks. Eagles Commanders real quick. Y'all, is it a wrap? You think the Eagles are going to smash the Commanders easily?
Yeah, I'm going with the over too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're going to beat them. It was a 3.5 right now. Even them at home, I just think that they have their number. I think the Commanders, they were good. And like I said, once the playbook came out for their quarterback, their rookie quarterback, I mean, defensive coordinators get paid millions of dollars to stop rookie quarterbacks. And Vic Fangio going against his rookie quarterback, he's just going to show you, yes, you are a rookie, and he's going to make him feel like a rookie. So I think the Eagles out and out just, beat up on that team.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to take the over, though, because I don't know if it'll be super high scoring. I know that the last time these two played, Jaden Daniels was coming off of an injury, so I don't know if he was totally healthy. So he's been playing a little bit better lately, kind of back to what he looked like at the start of the season. But I just think that the Eagles have the edge here. They're the better team, and especially the better defense that can really just put a stop to any effort that Jaden Daniels and that Washington offense tries to make.
Yeah, I mean, the Commanders, they beat the Titans and the Saints.
Right.
Games,
Their last opponents weren't.
And they lost 3 in a row before that when they faced decent opponents. So the Commanders are limping down, and they'll probably end up making the playoffs, but they won't look good in making the playoffs. So I'm with y'all. The Eagles will sort of dominate this game easily. Let's go to another game. Vikings-Seahawks. Again, the Vikings still battling for the division, still battling to get that number 1 seed. Do you think the Seahawks upset them? The Seahawks coming off a loss. Devin, I'll start with you. What do you think in this game?
No, I like the Vikings, and I like the Vikings plus the points, 3-point favorites, even if it's in Seattle. Vikings have won 7 games straight. I know a lot of people think that they're frauds. I don't know if I'm confident enough to say whether they are or are not. I don't think that they're fraudulent. They might not be as talented as maybe their record shows, but at the end of the day, a win is a win, and they have won a lot of games this season. Sam Darnold is still playing pretty well. Their offense has put up 30 or more points in the last 3 of 4 games. And then you look at the Seahawks, and they show signs and glimpses, but Geno Smith is not healthy. They somehow have the most receiving yards, yet the fewest receiving touchdowns in the league. Like, there's something just a little bit disjointed with their offense. Kenneth Walker hasn't been healthy. So I just don't think that the cards are falling in line for the Seahawks, and they seem to all be falling the way the Vikings want them to.
Yeah, what you think, Barrett?
Yeah, that's huge too. The running game, even though we've had a decent running game, Kenneth Walker not being there, and what's his name, Charbonnet.
Zach Charbonnet.
Charbonnet, yeah, he's been playing very well, but with their starting quarterback not being healthy, if he would have been healthy, I might have went with the Vikings. Went with them over the Vikings, but I think the Vikings and Sam Darnold, he's doing enough that they'll beat this Seahawks, even at home. Even with the 12th man, I think the Vikings will pull it out.
Can the Vikings do anything to make you feel like they're part of the Big Three?
No, not really.
Right? Like, everyone mentions Detroit and the Eagles. I forgot that they were in this position.
Yep.
I forgot that they could have won the division, that they could win the number 1
Yeah, but
seed.
that could work in their favor, honestly. Like, people counting them out. I don't even want to say their biggest deficiency. What we aren't talking about the Vikings is their defense. And their defense has played really, really well. And I think that's a big reason why they've won so many games. But on the other side of things, like, yeah, they have Sam Darnold. I think that everyone who hasn't been watching the Vikings
that's
week
it right
after
there,
a week
Yep.
still thinks it's Sam Darnold, who's on the Jets, who wasn't a good quarterback. But he has Justin Jefferson. He has Jordan Addison. He has Aaron Jones. Like, he has TJ Hawkinson. He has so many weapons to get the ball to
Yep.
that they could be like I don't even want to say sleeper because they have a really good record, but
But
like
it feels like a sleeper, right?
right, like everyone seems to be treating them that way, or like frauds, and I just think that they could surprise people in the
Right, I
or
keep
in
saying
the postseason.
Sam Darnold, but 3,530 yards, 29 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. It's a damn good season.
Yeah.
Like
Yes, it
he's
is.
balling,
Yeah.
averaging over 250 yards. Rating is 104. He's balling, but at the same time, I'm looking at him like,
Right.
can it be Sam? Right? And then the Minnesota Vikings have a history of this. They have a history of
They do.
really good regular season teams, and then you go,
They do.
who are you? Who's like Case Keenum? He had a great regular season too.
Mhm.
Right? Like I keep comparing Sam Darnold to Case Keenum. Like, yeah, you're gonna have a great regular season. You're gonna get to the playoffs. And y'all ain't gonna be
could
for
be
real.
different this year though.
Right? And even when they had Kirk Cousins, the same thing. When
Mhm.
Kirk Cousins had the 1 year, I think they went 12-4. I think it was, or 13-3, and then they got
Yeah, they
knocked
weren't
off.
good. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So something about the Minnesota Vikings that I just don't believe. The NFC West, the Seahawks.
It's just that division, man. That division right now
what's
is
going
so.
on there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Seahawks, Rams. Are you still bullish on your Arizona Cardinals? I haven't heard anything about that.
Absolutely not. I'd be foolish to say their name as far as being winners, period.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I'd
But
be a
they're only
fraud.
one
You
game
can't
back.
really say that about anyone in the NFC West.
I know, and that's
Or-
what's crazy about it.
yeah.
You know, we're talking about the division. What last year, that's one of the strongest divisions. You know, last 2 years have been one of the strongest divisions.
Mhm.
But now, I just don't see it, man. I just thought Kyler Murray was a lot better than the way he started the year is a lot better than I thought he was gonna be. You know, I thought he was gonna be a really good quarterback. You know, I thought he got focused and really doing things the right way, but evidently he's still playing video games and not balling right now. You know what I'm saying? Put the video games down, start balling, bro.
He's playing okay. To be fair, they just don't have the talent. It's not like they have. They're the lesser when it comes to talent. When it comes to everybody else in their division, right? They don't have
Yeah.
as much talent as the Rams. They don't have
Nope.
as much talent as the Seahawks. They certainly don't have as much talent as a healthy San Francisco 49ers. So, what are we talking about here? But again, yeah, the NFC West is sort of, it feels like the cakewalk.
Mm-hmm.
But at the
Mhm.
same time, that would be the time that the cakewalk team beat someone in the playoffs.
Right.
Right? Like, remember when the Seattle did that, I want to say some years back with Marshawn Lynch and them, and they were like 7-9, and then they won their first playoff game? That's what you can get out of the NFC West this year.
Yeah, it was against New Orleans, wasn't it? And Marshawn just went off.
Yeah. It was 7-9.
off,
I think
yep.
New Orleans was 13-3
Yeah, they snuck in.
that year.
Yep.
Precisely. All right, when we come up, we got our best bets. Final segments, we'll have our best bets, and we'll have start one, bench one, cut one. Didn't go well for us last week. You know what I mean? I took some L's in start one, bench one, cut one. We'll see if we can do a little bit better this week. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Sunday Spread. Devin Caney, Barrett Brooks, Sean Bell. It's time for start one, bench one, cut one. Didn't go too well for me last week, all right? Jamar Chase didn't get his over 100.
That's where the parlay came from. I knew it was at the end of the show.
Yeah, it was at the end of the show. Justin Jefferson didn't have the game I thought he would have. Again, a lot of things. Derrick Henry didn't have over 100. It was not a good look. So I'm going to see if we can do a little bit better. Or I can do a little bit better. Although you guys differ from me a little bit. Like, you guys picked A.J. Brown to go over 100
Yep.
Mhm.
in your start one, bench one, cut one. I think you
Yeah.
might have started him, and I cut him,
Mhm.
Shocking.
and A.J. Brown got 100 yards.
Yeah.
I know. Shocking.
It's shocking.
She won't ever leave me alone. So let's start with the running backs. Start one, bench one, cut one. We're gonna go with Chuba Hubbard.
Okay.
Is
Is it Chuba or Chubba? I hear it both ways.
Chuba Hubbard.
I mean, I don't think it really matters. I'm just
I called a
myself.
college game and they said it was Chuba Hubbard.
Chubba
Yeah,
Hubbard.
Chuba.
Okay.
Yeah. I called the game and and then I was calling them. The Hokies or something like that, and the whole fan base got on me about that. So I was like, my fault.
That's my bad.
You are what you
Oh,
are.
I said Okie State. We're not Okie State. We're Oklahoma State. Don't call us Okie State.
Aren't you from Oklahoma?
No, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
Sorry,
He's like,
sorry.
we got St. Louis, Missouri. Chuba has over 1,000 yards. They're playing the Arizona Cardinals. Then you got Josh Jacobs, Green Bay Packers taking on the Saints. Again, Josh Jacobs has 1,147 yards and 12 touchdowns on the season. He's been absolutely balling. Or do you go Bijan Robinson, 1,100 yards. They're taking on the Giants. The Falcons are. Chuba, Bijan, or Jacobs. Start one, bench one.
Where the
cut one.
Packers are playing the Saints.
Mm-hmm. Where would y'all go with this one?
I'm starting Josh Jacobs. Wait, what does it? Start, bench, cut?
Yeah, start, bench, cut.
Starting Josh Jacobs, benching Bijan Robinson. No. Benching. Who are the Panthers playing?
Cardinals.
Oh, this is hard. But I'm starting Josh Jacobs, benching Bijan Robinson, and cutting Chuba Hubbard.
Okay.
I'm starting Josh Jacobs. Chuba Hubbard, I'm benching. And then I'm cutting Bijan Robinson.
No love for Bijan.
No.
I said I'm benching him. Okay.
Oh, that's right. Who'd you cut? I thought you said you were
I'm cutting Chuba.
Oh, that's right. Okay. All right. I like it. Kenny, do you have one for this one? For this scenario?
Yeah, I would actually start Bijan Robinson. I just think he's going to get a little bit more looks. I think the Packers are probably going to blow out the Saints. I know that probably leads more touches to Jacobs, but they want to keep him ready for the playoffs. But I will bench him, and then I'll cut Chuba Hubbard. He's just not as good as Jacobs or Bijan. So kind of by default, I've got to cut Chuba Hubbard or Chuba.
With them going against who they're going against?
Yeah, I mean, Chuba's had a good year. Chubb's had a good year, but, the other two guys are just better.
Yeah.
See, I'm starting Jacobs. I'm benching Chuba. And I'm cutting Bijan. Just because with a rookie quarterback, don't the Giants just put 8 men in the box?
Yep.
I dare you.
And force them to pass the ball. That's why I say
we cannot let Bijan get off in this game.
Yep.
Like, I know their defense isn't good, but we cannot. 8 men in the box. Michael Penix Jr., let me see what you got. Which would lead more credence to y'all thinking he may get over 250 yards.
Yeah, but
passing.
Bijan can receive too.
Well, I said just rushing.
You know you didn't.
Well, that's what it has been, Miss Devin Caney. Since you want to get technical. I'm just talking about rushing.
All right.
You know what? She's just being difficult for no reason. Difficult for no freaking reason. All right, let's get to receiving. Just receiving, not anything else. Not kick return yards, not punt return
Thank
yards.
you.
Just
Got
receiving.
it. Yes.
Just,
Yeah. Thank
just-
you for confirming.
just so you know. Over 100.
over 100.
Devontae Adams, who has got some good looks, has been doing his thing a little bit, right, for the Jets. Had a good week last week. Devontae Smith for the Eagles. Again, I'm not giving you guys some of the big ones. Devontae Smith for the Eagles. Jordan Addison for the Vikings. Right? I'm picking some guys that aren't the Jamar Chases of the world, aren't Justin Jeffersons and world surprise you. The reason I did that because the number 2 guys have been getting off because the number 1 guys have been getting double coverage. So I wanted to throw Jordan Addison in there because he's had a couple 100-yard games over the last few games. So if I gave you those 3 individuals, what do you think?
Oh, Barrett, do you want to go first? 'Cause I'm thinking
I'll
about
go
this.
first. I would actually start Jordan Addison. I would bench Smitty, Skinny Batman, and I would cut Devontae Adams. And that's crazy because to me, Devontae Adams, for the past 5 years, has been the best receiver in the league, with the exception of this year. He has been a baller. He is, the complete receiver. But this last year and a half, he just hasn't got off, even with him being back with his guy. So, yeah, I would have to cut him.
I am going to cut Devontae Adams, bench Jordan Addison, and start Devontae Smith.
Okay.
He had over 100 last week against the Steelers defense, and I know AJ did too, but Devontae actually had more targets, and I think if AJ's covered by Marshawn Lattimore or he's doubled, then I think Devontae's going to be the guy, so I'm starting him.
I'm actually going to start Devontae Adams.
Okay.
I think the Rams game is just going to be a lot of offense. right? Like, I just think it's going to be up and down game, 27-31 type of situation. I'm a bench Devontae Smith, yeah.
I know, it is confusing. I was like, wait.
Yes, my bad. I know, I just said Devontae.
Yeah, I was like, okay, different.
My bad. Devontae Adams to start. Devontae Smith is going to go to the bench. Again, I think the Eagles are trying to show, hey, offensively, this is what we can do. Everyone's game plan is to slow down Saquon Barkley, not let Saquon Barkley get the record. And so A.J. Brown gets a lot of the attention. Devontae has gone overlooked all season long.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's only had one 100-yard game so far this season, which is blasphemy for the type of talent that he is. So I'm going Devontae Smith, and then I'm going to cut Jordan Addison in this game. Again, Jordan Addison's been getting off, but I still think Justin Jefferson still finds a way to get over 100, so I can't have both of those guys to get over 100. What do you think on this one, Kenny?
I would start Devontae Adams. I would bench Devontae Smith, and then I would cut Jordan Addison just the way you did it as well. I think Adams is going to get force-fed in that game. And, Seattle secondary against Addison isn't the most ideal matchup. And then Smith, I think he has a decent game, but I would look actually more towards A.J. Brown. He's had good success against Lattimore in his career. So.
Oh, that's good to know.
Okay.
That's good to know.
Okay, I like it. So let me give y'all one last one, and this is going to be throwing the ball over 250.
Oh, okay.
Over 250. I'm going Jared Goff against the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Joe Burrow, Bengals, against the Browns. And I'm going to go with – I was going to go with – no, I'm not going to go with him. I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield against the Cowboys.
Okay. Am I going first?
Sure.
I'm going to start Joe Burrow because I think he's only, and this is 250 passing yards.
250.
I think Joe Burrow's only had under 250 passing yards like a few times this season because their defense is terrible, but I don't think he trusts his options on the ground, and he just airs it out to Jamar Chase and his receivers. So I'm starting him. It was Baker. Who was the third one?
Goff.
Goff.
Yeah.
I'm cutting Goff and benching Baker.
Okay, why?
Just because I think that they're not going to have to throw it that much. Sorry, Kenny.
I'm going to start Jared Goff. Because they only have one running back, I think they'll rely a little more on the pass because of that. I'm going to bench Burrow because he throws for 300, just waking up out of bed. We're not even stretching. And I'm going to cut Baker, just because you're talking about a Dallas team. They're going to run all over them. They're not going to pass the ball anyways. They're going to run all over that team because they can't stop the run. So.
Yeah, I'm cutting Jarrett because I don't think he's gonna need to do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start Joe because he always gets that. That's just his routine because they can't run the ball. So those are the two obvious ones. Then Baker Mayfield, undercover, great season. 3,600 yards, 32 touchdowns, 14 interceptions.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I'm saying.
He's been a top 6 or 7.
Yeah.
He's been a top 6 or 7 quarterback in this league.
That's a great investment.
You can argue he's top 5 if you're just talking about this year when it comes to passing the rock. So I'll give him that. All right, Kenny, what do you think before we get to our best bets?
I'm definitely cutting Jared Goff, not only because they're probably going to be winning and running the ball, but also because the weather out here is going to be cold. And then I'm actually starting Baker Mayfield. I think that the Browns defense has had success against Burrow, and the Bengals might not need to throw as well in that game. The Buccaneers are fighting for their playoff lives going up against the Cowboys. I like Baker Mayfield. He's going to feed Mike Evans and spread the ball around. I think that they're going to have a good game on offense.
All right, I like it. Now, with that, let's get to our best bets before we wrap up the show. Devin, we'll start with you.
Well, Texans were my underdog pick, whether you want to take a money line. I really like them plus 3.5 against the Chiefs, but I also think that they can win. We didn't really touch on this game. I know it's a Saturday game, but I like the Ravens -6 over the Steelers, especially if George Pickens doesn't play. And then for anytime touchdowns, just to reiterate what I said, Bucky Irving for the Bucks, James Conner, Cardinals, and Jahmyr Gibbs for the Lions getting in the end zone.
All right. What you got, Barrett?
I'm being an idiot. I'm going with Bills. I'm going with the over. They're going to points too. I'm going -4. They'll beat them by 20. So I'm going with the Bills, beating up on them. I'm also going with the 49ers really beating up on the Dolphins. Even playing them in Miami, I just think that's going to be too easy for them. And then I'm going with the Birds. I think they'll win by a touchdown. So I'm going with the points with that also. But then, my anytime touchdown, I'm going Saquon Barkley, anytime touchdown. I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown. And then I'm going to go with Gibbs, anytime touchdown.
Yeah, Gibbs is going to get – he's going to go. I'm going to go with Gibbs having over 100 yards and anytime touchdown.
Would you go 2 touchdowns for Gibbs?
He's the only guy. He's
the only guy.
Yeah.
I would think about it.
Yeah.
I would think about it. I'm not going to automatically say that. That's not going to be my best bet, but I think that's one to go with. But I'm going to have Gibbs go over 100 yard and a touchdown, and I'm going to do similar to what I did last week. And I'm going to parlay that with Jamar Chase going for over 100 yards and a touchdown. Again, he didn't do it last week. Man has over 1,400 yards and 15 TDs. So you could pretty much bet that most weeks he's going to go for it, especially against a bad Browns team. So that's what I'm parlaying this week. Jameer, 100 a tutty, and Jamar Chase, 100 tutty. Put those two together. I like it. And I also like Kyron Williams to go over 100 yards and a touchdown also.
That is a good bet.
Against a terrible New York Jets team whose defense is bad now since Robert Saleh is gone. Who would have thought? So those are going to be my best bets. Listen, this has been the Sunday Spread. Merry Christmas, by the way.
All right, Merry Christmas. Yes.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, whatever y'all celebrate. Enjoy and win some money. Devin Caney, Barry Brooks, Sean Bell.